Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. The cornbread casserole was already in the oven when my brother called. I had the oven mitt still on one hand, my playlist blasting in the background, and I was setting the table even though the get-together wasn't until tomorrow. New Year's Eve had always been my holiday in this family. I cooked, cleaned, wrapped all the last-minute gifts, even kept the younger cousins entertained so the adults could drink in peace. So when Mason's name lit up my phone, I figured it was the usual, him forgetting what time dinner started. I answered, "You bringing drinks or should I grab them?" He was quiet for a second, then cleared his throat. Actually, you might want to sit down. I didn't sit. I turned down the music and just waited. So, Bella's been kinda overwhelmed lately, he said. Her therapist thinks she needs to avoid harsh environments. I stared at the casserole timer. What the hell does that mean? It means, we thought it might be better if you skipped this year, he said, like he was telling me the forecast called for light rain. Before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? My mouth was open but nothing came out. Mason kept talking. It's nothing personal. You just have, intense energy. Bella's really sensitive to stuff like that. It messes with her headspace. I could feel the heat rising in my face. Not anger. Humiliation. I was being disinvited from my own family's New Year's Eve because my brother's girlfriend thought my energy was too intense. What the hell was I? A haunted blender. I didn't say a word, just hung up. 5 minutes later, Mom called. "Lexi, honey," she started, in that voice people use right before they screw you over and pretend it's out of love. I think maybe Mason's right. Bella's had a rough year. She's a little spiritually fragile. I didn't ask how my existence was supposed to threaten Bella's spirit. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just said, okay, and ended the call. Then I grabbed my phone, opened my budgeting app, and started going down the list. Canceled the autopay on Mom's cell plan, paused the Venmo I sent Dad every month for his truck payment, deleted the shared grocery card I used to top off Mason's. Balance. I turned off the oven, pulled out the casserole, let it cool, and slid it into the freezer. The wrapped presents went back into the closet. So did the outfit I'd bought just for tomorrow. Sequined blazer, gold earrings, didn't even take the tags off. When midnight came, I was sitting on my couch in sweats, holding a paper plate with microwaved wings. No one called, no one checked in, which, honestly, made their message loud and clear. The next morning, my phone blew up like someone had pulled the fire alarm. 9 missed calls, 7 texts, all from my mother. "Lexi, what the hell did you do?" "You knew this would wreck the vibe. Mason said you sent her into a spiral." I sat at the kitchen table, sipping day-old coffee with my phone face down. The messages kept stacking up. I didn't even open them. I just watched the screen flash like a slot machine. I wasn't playing anymore. By noon, she was calling from my dad's number. I let it ring out. An hour later, Aunt Donna called. I answered. "Tell me what's going on," I said. No hello, no small talk. I wasn't in the mood. She let out a long sigh. "Lex, you didn't do anything wrong. Bella saw a picture of you," I blinked. "A picture?" "Yeah, group shot someone posted to Instagram from last year's party. Bella saw it, asked who you were. Mason said something nasty. I don't know exactly what, but it was enough for her to walk out." I felt my stomach twist. "She left the party?" I asked. "Walked out mid-toast. Said she couldn't be around people who treated someone like that. Told Mason right in front of everyone that she wasn't going to be part of a family that tears down their own." I let that sit for a second. "You're telling me she dumped him?" "Yup, in front of the whole living room," Donna said, almost proud. Then she left, drove home, and apparently she posted something. I opened my laptop, searched Bella's name, found it in 2 seconds flat. It wasn't long or messy, just a few clean paragraphs on a pale pink background, her usual aesthetic. She didn't name names, didn't drop details, but anyone with a brain could connect the dots. When someone is openly mocked, excluded, and diminished, even when they aren't present, that's not family. That's dysfunction disguised as tradition. She talked about a brilliant woman who was described as harsh because she stood firm, and how hearing the way they spoke about her made me question everything. I scrolled through the comments. Hundreds of likes, dozens of supportive replies. One caught my eye. "Whoever she is, I hope she knows she's the strongest one in the room, even when she's not in it." I shut the laptop and leaned back in my chair. I didn't cry, didn't laugh either. But I smiled, not a big one, just enough to feel it in my cheek, because somehow, the thing that finally cracked everything open wasn't me yelling or begging or trying harder. It was me not being there. It was the silence that told the truth. That smile faded fast. I shut the laptop and just sat there for a while. No notifications, no calls, no more noise. Just the hum of my fridge and the clock ticking too loud above the stove. That kind of silence used to mess with me, not anymore. Now it made room. Room to start putting the pieces together. I wasn't shocked that Mason said something nasty about me. That was his way. What hit me was how natural it probably felt for him. Like it was normal, expected, learned, and I knew exactly where he learned it. I was the oldest, the quiet one, the helper, the fixer. Mason was the big personality, the golden boy. My whole life, I was expected to step back so he could shine. He flunked out of 3 college programs, all of them barely halfway through. He's just trying to find his path, Mom would say, while we all acted like dropping out was the same as soul searching. I got a full ride to Georgia Tech, graduated with honors, took a job designing engine systems, and never once asked my parents for help. The year the power went out during that winter storm, I drove 4 hours, installed the generator I paid for, and left before dinner was even served. No thank you, no mention of it afterward. But when Mason built a crooked bookshelf out of reclaimed wood and posted it on Instagram, Dad shared it like his son had just won the Nobel Peace Prize. You know Mason, Mom would say, he's so creative. Number. He was coddled. And I was convenient. I remembered this one Christmas. I had just gotten my engineering certification. Mason had gotten fired from some gym for no-call, no-shows, and they still gave him the big toast. To Mason, Dad had said, holding up his glass, for not giving up on his dreams. I stood there with my diploma in my purse and a cheap bottle of wine in my hand. They never asked about my job. Still hadn't. Then there was the birthday party I threw for Mom. I baked the cake from scratch, cleaned the whole house, even made a slideshow of old photos. Mason showed up an hour late with a Bluetooth speaker, and they acted like he built the damn thing with his bare hands. It wasn't just favoritism, it was erasure. Every achievement I had was background noise. Every mistake he made was a moment of growth. It was like they only saw me when they needed something, money, a ride, repairs, favors, never pride, never celebration. And the worst part? I had let it happen. I'd kept my head down, stayed polite, never asked for credit, because I thought that's what love was supposed to be. Sacrifice. Turns out they didn't love me for being good. They just loved that I didn't make noise. They only valued my silence and my service. My phone buzzed again late that night, but this time it wasn't a text from Mom or some cousin looking for gossip. It was a voicemail from Bella. I almost didn't listen. My thumb hovered over the play button while I sat on the edge of my bed, still in the hoodie I'd worn all day. I didn't owe her anything, and honestly, I wasn't in the mood for another fake apology on behalf of bad energy, but then I hit play. Hey, Lexi? I hope it's okay that I reached out. Her voice was soft but not shaky, just real. I didn't know who you were. Not really. I just saw your face in that photo and I thought, wait, I know her. It took me a minute, but it clicked. She let out a breath. I could hear cars passing in the background. She must have recorded this outside somewhere. You fixed my grandma's truck. That mint green Ford. She loves that thing like a person, and nobody else could get it to stop stalling at lights. You didn't even charge us for labor. You just said, happy to help. I never forgot that. My eyes locked on the crack in my ceiling. I remembered that truck, rusted tailgate, scented pine tree still swinging from the rear view. I never connected Bella to it. I didn't realize until after the party, when I saw the picture. When Mason told me who you were, I can't even repeat what he said. It made my stomach turn. That's when I left. Not out of drama, just... I couldn't sit there pretending it was normal. She paused. I'm sorry. I know that word probably feels cheap right now, but I really am. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. The room was too quiet. You're generous. Grounded. I only met you once, but I remembered how you treated my grandma like she mattered. How you treated me like I mattered, even though I was just tagging along. No weirdness, no judgment, just kindness. The silence on the line stretched for a few seconds. Then her voice dropped a little. I left Mason because I couldn't stomach the way he talked about you. Not just once, it was a pattern. And I saw how your family didn't stop him. Didn't defend you? It broke something in me. My throat tightened. I didn't know what to do with that kind of honesty. I don't need anything from you. I just wanted you to know. Someone sees it. Sees you? The message ended. I hit replay. Then I listened again. And again. By the third time, I wasn't breathing steady anymore. My face was wet, not messy crying, just quiet tears, falling one after another like they'd been waiting years for permission. It wasn't sadness, it wasn't even relief. It was recognition. Someone saw me. I was still sitting on the floor when my phone lit up again. Mom, not just one call. 4 in a row, back to back, like her fingers were stuck on redial. I let it ring out every time. Then came the texts. Call me now. This has gone too far. You need to fix this. No explanations, no greetings, just panic. I finally opened Instagram again. Bella's post was now everywhere, reposted on wellness pages, shared in auto tech forums, even picked up by some feminist car repair group with 50,000 followers. And still no names, just the same post. The same quote that was starting to echo in my head. When someone is mocked, excluded, and diminished, even when they aren't present, that's not family. That's dysfunction disguised as tradition. It was bold, not angry, just clear. Sharp like clean glass. Comments were pouring in. Been there. Thank you for saying it. Every family has a Lexi, and they never get the credit. I hope the woman in that story knows she deserves better. For the first time in my life, people weren't speaking for me. They were speaking to me, even if they didn't know it. My phone buzzed again. Another call. Mom. This time, I answered and let it sit on mute. She launched in, already mid-rant. You have to talk to her, Lexi. This post is destroying us. Mason's been getting nasty DMs. My church friends are asking questions. Even Aunt Rhonda saw it and said it sounded like you. I didn't say a word. She kept going. You need to clarify that this wasn't what it looked like. We were trying to protect Bella's emotional health, that's all. You know how sensitive she is? I unmuted. You done? She stammered. Lexi, please, just tell Bella to take it down or post something yourself. Say it was a misunderstanding. I pulled up the post again and stared at it. There wasn't one lie in there, not a single exaggeration, and still, no names. She had protected them more than they ever protected me. Do you realize she never even mentioned me? I said. She didn't have to. Your actions filled in the blanks. Lexi, I'm not helping you cover it up. Her voice dropped into that fake sweet tone she used whenever she was losing control. But think of the family's image. People are getting the wrong idea. No, I said flat. They're finally getting the right one. Then I hung up. I didn't block her. I didn't even mute the thread. I just didn't answer again. Not when she texted 2 hours later with a Bible verse. Not when she sent a crying emoji. Not even when she tried calling from my dad's number. That kind of desperation used to get to me. Guilt me into backing down. Not anymore. I didn't even send back a sarcastic emoji. Because for once, I didn't feel like I had to explain a damn thing. It wasn't even 24 hours before Mason tried to squeeze through the cracks. He called around noon, blocked number. I only picked up because I thought it might be work. Lex, he said, like we'd just talked yesterday. I didn't answer, just waited. I don't even know what's going on anymore, he started. Bella won't talk to me. She blocked my number, shut down her comments. Her comments, Lex. And now I'm getting DMs from random people calling me fake, toxic, performative. I leaned back in my desk chair and stared at the ceiling. You know how hard I've worked to build my brand, he said. This is years of work down the drain. I could already see where it was headed. And honestly, I feel like you should have told me. That you and Bella had met before, my hand gripped the edge of the desk. You didn't give me a chance to put it in context, he went on. If I'd known you two had history, I would have handled things differently. I finally spoke. You told me not to come. He hesitated. Yeah, but you told me not to show up, Mason. That was because Bella was dealing with some stuff. You know how she gets when the energy is, she wasn't the problem, you were. He went quiet. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't let him spin this into a misunderstanding. I kept it straight. You didn't ask if I'd met her. You didn't ask anything. You assumed you could say whatever you wanted because no one was listening. I didn't know you felt left out, okay? His tone shifted, angry but still trying to sound wounded. You always seemed fine. You are fine. You're doing great. You've got your job, your own place. What were we supposed to think? I paused. let the weight of it settle before I answered. You didn't want to know, I said. That shut him up. I heard him breathing through the receiver, the way he used to do when he got caught sneaking in late in high school. Like maybe if he stayed quiet long enough, someone else would take the fall. Then he snapped back. So what now? You're just gonna let everyone think I'm a monster? I didn't tell anyone anything. You didn't have to, he snapped. That post, everyone knows. And you're just sitting back while it tanks my life. No, I said. I'm just not saving you from it. He didn't say goodbye, just hung up. I stared at the blank screen for a second, waiting for that old guilt to kick in, the part of me that used to jump to fix things before anyone asked. But there was nothing. No weight, no ache, no twisted stomach, just space. I wasn't mad, I wasn't proud, I was just done. And for the first time in my life, that didn't scare me. 2 days after Mason's little guilt parade, Aunt Donna called. She never called unless something was actually important. I answered on the second ring. Yeah? She didn't waste time. Bella asked me for your mailing address, said she wanted to send you something. I didn't say anything at first. My instinct was to say no. I'd had enough surprises lately, but it was Donna, and she wasn't the type to get caught in someone else's drama. She didn't say what, Donna added, just said it mattered. I let out a slow breath. Yeah, go ahead. Give it to her. A few days later, I got a cream-colored envelope in the mail with my name written in blue ink. Not printed, not typed, just clean cursive that looked careful and honest. Inside was a handwritten letter. No fluff, no performance. Just Bella, in her own words. She started by thanking me again, said she hadn't stopped thinking about that afternoon in my garage, how I didn't roll my eyes at her grandma's endless stories, didn't treat her like some inconvenience. She still drives the truck, Bella wrote, says it runs better now than it did in '98. I laughed, actually laughed, standing there in my kitchen holding the letter with a cold soda in my other hand. Then I read the last line. Strength isn't loud. It just lasts longer than lies. That one hit hard. I read the letter twice before I moved. Then I took it straight to the back room, the one I used as my workshop/office. I cleared a spot above my drafting desk, pinned the letter dead center, and stepped back to look at it. That wall used to have notes, design sketches, to-do lists. Now it had proof. Proof that I didn't imagine any of it. That who I was, the way I moved through the world, had been real and seen and remembered. I didn't feel triumphant or vindicated. I just felt done. Not empty, not bitter. Just done with trying to prove anything. To them, to myself, to anyone. The knock on my door wasn't friendly. It was sharp and fast, like someone didn't want me to have time to think. I looked through the peephole. Mom, Dad, and Mason. No warning, no text, no heads up. Just all three of them standing there like they were doing me the favor. I opened the door without a word and walked back to the kitchen. If they were coming in, they could figure it out themselves. They followed, awkward and too quiet. Mason hung back, arms crossed. Dad didn't look at me. Mom jumped right in. We wanted to come together. As a family, I raised an eyebrow but said nothing. She kept going. We think this whole situation has gotten out of hand. And it's hurting all of us, Dad chimed in, voice low but pointed. You letting Bella say those things online? It's tearing the family apart. I almost laughed. Letting? Like I was some kind of gatekeeper. Mason finally spoke. We didn't come to fight, okay? We just want to reset. Wipe the slate clean. Mom nodded. Yes, a fresh start. Maybe meet for breakfast next Sunday. Just talk things out. Smooth things over. My hands stayed flat on the counter. I stared at the three of them like they were strangers asking for change. Is this the part where someone says sorry? I asked. Mom shifted. Let's not dwell on the past. That's not productive. Mason jumped in. It's about moving forward, not pointing fingers. That was all I needed to hear. I walked over to the drawer under my printer, pulled it open, and grabbed the folder I kept tucked in the back. It was thick, organized, labeled. I brought it to the table and opened it without saying a word. First, the cell phone bill. 6 months of me paying Mom's line. I slid it forward. Then the truck payment, 3 separate transfers I made when Dad said they were between checks. Slid that next. Next was the HVAC repair I'd covered when their AC blew out last summer. I had the Venmo receipts and the email confirmation from the service company. Another neat pile on the table. And finally, Mason's freelance logo work. The invoice from the designer I paid when he wanted a personal brand package and couldn't afford it. never paid me back. Not a dime. I stepped back, arms folded. You want to talk about debt? I said, voice calm. Let's include emotional ones. None of them moved. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there while they stared at years of me carrying weight they never acknowledged. I'm not asking for the money back, I said. I never was. Mom opened her mouth, then closed it again. I'm not asking for anything, I repeated, but I'm done giving. The silence stretched. Mason looked like he wanted to say something, but couldn't figure out the angle. Dad looked embarrassed for the first time in his life. And Mom? She looked like someone trying to hold together a story that finally unraveled in front of her. They didn't argue, didn't beg, didn't say thank you either. They just gathered their things, which was nothing, and walked out. No door slam, no scene, just silence. And for the first time, it felt like mine. They didn't call after that. Not a word, not a text, not even one of Mom's passive-aggressive Bible verses. But word got around anyway. A week later, I ran into Crystal from the auto parts store while picking up brake pads. She leaned in like we were sharing secrets and whispered, "Heard your brother's crashing on people's couches." His girlfriend really lit him up, huh? I didn't confirm or deny, just said, yeah, something like that, and paid cash. Later that week, someone tagged me in a comment thread on a mechanic mentorship group I used to moderate. Bella's post was still making the rounds. This time, it had spread to a small group of women in the trades, technicians, welders, even a few diesel girls I'd met at conferences. They weren't gossiping, they were relating. Mason's name never came up in those posts, but everyone seemed to know what the story was. His brand had gone cold, engagements dropped, sponsorships dried up. Turns out, being performative only works when people are still watching. Then Aunt Donna called. "They sold the house," she said. I blinked. "What?" "Your parents." Downsized. Said the mortgage was too much. Now I sat back in my chair, just letting it sink in. I wasn't surprised. Not really. I knew they were stretching thin, even before I cut off the monthly deposits. They just never talked about it because that would mean admitting they needed me. I didn't ask for the new address. Over the next few weeks, a few extended relatives reached out. Second cousins, a couple aunts I hadn't heard from since high school. All of them suddenly so concerned and just wanting to check in. I didn't engage. They weren't reaching out because they missed me. They were trying to figure out which way the wind was blowing and whether I had finally become someone worth aligning with. That was the thing about people like them. They only came around when you were either weak enough to use or strong enough to need favors from. And I wasn't either of those anymore. I didn't block them, just stopped answering. Not out of rage, not even sadness, just because there was nothing left to hold on to. Then one afternoon, I got a package at work. Small, no return address, just my name, handwritten on the label. I opened it at my bench between two appointments. Inside was a keychain with a small metal gear charm, simple, solid, clean, and a folded note. It said, "Keep going. Bella." That's it. No apology, no recap, no over-explaining. Just the kind of message you send someone when you already know they're moving forward and you just want them to keep walking. I clipped the keychain to the lanyard that held my shop keys. It felt right there, next to the grit and the grease and the actual work I put my hands on every day. I didn't tear up. I didn't post about it. I didn't tell anyone, not even Donna. I just smiled. Not because I'd won, but because I'd finally let go. The silence around me wasn't empty. It was mine now. 12 months later, nothing. No calls, no emails, no long-winded voicemails from Mom trying to spin some new excuse, no half-hearted texts from Mason pretending he didn't remember what happened. Just silence. Not because I blocked them, but because I stopped making space for noise. I still worked out of the garage behind my place, still had oil under my nails half the time, and a list of repair jobs lined up 3 weeks out. I mentored 3 girls from the local trade school, sharp, scrappy, ready to outwork any guy in their class. Watching them tear apart a carburetor like it was nothing, that was the good stuff. Sometimes I posted weekend engine guides on my old blog, just for fun. Sometimes I didn't. I didn't owe consistency to anyone anymore. The framed letter from Bella stayed above my drafting desk. The gear keychain never left my lanyard. Not as trophies, just as reminders that I was never too much. I was just too real for people who needed me to stay small. My family didn't collapse because of me. I didn't burn the house down. I just stopped pretending the foundation wasn't already cracked. They weren't cut out of my life. They handed me the scissors, Ever had to walk away not because you hated someone, but because they gave you no choice? Yeah, me too. I closed my laptop and got back to work.